everybody, welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host Mark, and this is Whiskey Review number 158. Back to Scotland, back to the market leader, the Glenlivet, and their 18-year-old. I've got a little miniature here. This was found here in Korea. Very nice to have this one rather than to get a full bottle. In fact, in Korea, Glenlivet 18-year-old is a very, very expensive whiskey indeed. Let's get this poured. I'm going to pour about at least half of this one. Probably a little more than half, 25, probably closer to 30 milliliters. This is bottled at 43% ABV. It is purported to be natural in color, so that's interesting. It does not say so on the label. It would be nice if it did, but we'll just go with that. It's likely chill filtered to a degree, given that it's 43%. It's also a big brand, so they want to look after the uniformity of the appearance. Given that it's 18 years old, we should probably give it a bit of time, but I'd sure like to give this a whiff and see how it smells right now. And how does it smell? It smells of dried fruits, a little bit of bookshelves, and a classic Speyside kind of maltiness with pretty much no peating whatsoever. Although they do peat their malt. Their malt is peated to about 2 ppm. Okay, we'll come back to that in a few minutes. Apparently this one uses 12 to 13% sherry casks, so that's pretty interesting. It also seems as though the 12-year-old is using some sherry casks, and if you watched my previous review, which was of the Glenlivet 15-year-old, I mentioned the French oak that had a big effect on this one. At least I believe a big effect, a big improvement over the basic 12-year-old. Anyway, this, let's see, this 18-year-old, any bottling date here? Huh, not listed. Okay, well, anyway, so we'll give that a little bit of time, and I'm gonna just relax here for a minute. All right, now I think that's about enough breathing time. Let's get on to the nose, and before we do so, we'll have a short word from the YouTube sponsors right here. Welcome back, the Glenlivet 18-year-old, 43% ABV. 12 to 13% Oloroso sherry casks. I can certainly smell the sherry there. I'm smelling kind of like a bubblegum, a fruity bubblegum scent. Yeah, it's kind of a fruity bubblegum, like juicy fruit. Interestingly, I can smell the peat here. Isn't that interesting? It's very light. It is there. There's also a nice wood aspect here. I'm guessing that we've got a lot of first fill and probably quite a good proportion of European oak amongst that, that sherry component, if not all. And looking at the way this hangs onto the glass, sure, it may have been chill filtered, but not very much. Okay, check out the glass now. Can you see all the beading there on the sides of the glass? Now, it is fairly on the thin side. The legs move really quick. It drizzles down quite quickly. But given how much of it gets stuck on the sides of the glass, tells me that there's a little bit of something there. Anything else? Now here's some baking spices. Ginger. A little bit of nutmeg here. And bay leaf. Interesting. Okay, on to the palate. Cheers, everybody. It's got quite a lot of vigor for an 18-year-old. There's something in here that seems more like a younger whiskey in one sense. It's got a power to it. Now that may just be from a particular style of distillation in a particular cask. It may also be the ABV. It's a slightly higher ABV than normal Glenlivet. It's got a little bit of that sort of used furniture shop sort of smell, but we're mainly dealing here with the fruits and some basic flavors like some sugars, a little bit of icing sugar in there. So let's add a nice teaspoonful, half teaspoonful, and we'll roll it around, let that get all mixed. Let it get all melded. I certainly like the nose more with water. That really brings out the Euro wood content. And interestingly, a little bit more potent than before. How about an agitated glass? You get some lemon candies. Some cinnamon, ginger, Swedish or Danish kind of tea biscuits. Tea biscuits meaning like crackers or thin cookies. That's about it. Okay, on to the palate. Cheers, everybody. Well, I really like the effect of the water on this. Again, a little bit more of that old book, old library effect. I'm not getting any leather. It's got spices, just ready to fire. And when I swallow, I've still got some spiciness going on in my throat. A little bit of prickliness on my tongue. These are hallmarks that I would say are evident of a young whiskey. So that is a little bit of a dilemma. It does get quite dry in a pleasant way, and the finish starts out with dryness, develops some sweetness, and then you're left basically with that dry, astringent feel in your mouth. I love the nose. The palate's pretty good. The finish, yeah, also quite nice, pretty long. So let's quantify this then. We'll go with 23 for the nose, 21 for the palate, and 22 for the finish. Balance-wise, very well balanced. Very memorable smells, well put together. Nothing offensive there at all. We'll go with 22 out of 100 for that as well. Boy, so can I add that now? I better let you do that. Okay, well, anyway, so this is the Glenlivet 18-year-old. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget Whiskey Whistle on YouTube, of course. That's where you are. Hit the subscribe button. Twitter, all you tweeps out there, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow Whiskey Whistle and set your alarm on. Then we go over to Instagram. And yes, please follow me there as well. Whiskey Whistle. Check out Whiskey Whistle on Instagram. Feel free to post your posts, make your posts, post your Instagrams, tag me in it if it has anything about whiskey. I'd love to see that, okay? Thank you for tuning in. We will see you for the next review. Goodbye.